Janitor fired for missing work to care for sick son. But one day later, Jessica held the broom with trembling hands as Victoria, the manager of the commercial building, pointed a finger at her, her face red with anger. "You didn't show up yesterday without warning. This is unacceptable," Victoria shouted, her voice echoing through the empty hallway on the 10th floor. Jessica tried to explain, but the words caught in her throat. Her son Ethan, just 8 years old, had woken up with a high fever and vomiting. She had no choice. She was a single mother with no one to leave her sick child with. "Ma'am Victoria, please, my son was really sick. I tried to call, but—" "I don't want to hear excuses," Victoria cut her off. "You're fired. Grab your things and leave right now." Jessica's heart sank. That job was all she had. It paid the rent for the small apartment she shared with Ethan, covered his asthma medication, and put food on the table. "Please, Ma'am, give me another chance. I need this job," Jessica begged, her eyes filling with tears. Victoria crossed her arms, unmoved. Her impeccable black suit contrasted sharply with Jessica's worn grey uniform. The difference between the two women had never been clearer than at that moment. "You should have thought of that before. I have a business to run. I can't have employees missing work whenever they feel like it." Jessica lowered her head, defeated. She knew that look. She'd seen it many times before. It was the look of someone who'd never had to choose between a job and a sick child. "I want you out of here in 10 minutes, Victoria ordered, turning her back. Jessica stood frozen in the hallway, still clutching the broom. Silent tears streamed down her face. How would she tell Ethan? How would she pay the rent due in 3 days? Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. The next day, Victoria arrived early at the office as usual. By 7 in the morning, she was already in the elevator, checking emails on her phone. But something strange happened. The elevator jerked to a stop between the 3rd and 4th floors. "Damn it," she muttered, frantically pressing the buttons. Nothing. The elevator wouldn't move. She tried the emergency intercom. Dead. She grabbed her phone. No signal. Victoria began to sweat. She'd always had claustrophobia, but never told anyone. After all, a successful executive couldn't show weakness. The minutes dragged like hours. The air felt heavier by the second. Victoria took off her blazer, trying to steady her rapid breathing. Then, she heard a familiar voice from outside. "Is someone in there?" It was Jessica. "Jessica! Jessica, it's me, Victoria. The elevator's stuck." Outside, Jessica froze. She'd returned to collect her personal belongings, forgotten the day before. She immediately recognized the voice of the woman who'd humiliated and fired her. For a moment, she considered walking away, leaving Victoria trapped, feeling a fraction of the despair she'd felt herself. But that wasn't who Jessica was. Her mother always said, "Sweetheart, no matter how others treat you, what matters is how you treat them." "Hold on, Mom, I'll get help," Jessica called. "No, please don't leave me alone." Victoria's voice was unrecognizable, thick with panic. Jessica was stunned. She'd never seen the manager show any emotion beyond anger or impatience. "I'm right here. I won't leave," Jessica assured her, pressing close to the elevator door. Victoria struggled to breathe. The small space seemed to shrink with every second. Old memories rushed back. She was 6 years old when she got locked in a closet during a game, hours in the dark, screaming, until the housekeeper found her. She'd never gotten over the trauma. "Jessica, I have claustrophobia," confessed Victoria, her voice trembling. On the other side, Jessica was surprised by the vulnerability. This wasn't the same authoritative woman from the day before. "Take a deep breath, Mom, slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth," Jessica instructed calmly. While soothing Victoria, Jessica grabbed her phone and called the building manager. Busy, she called maintenance. No one answered. It was too early, the building was practically empty. "Jessica, are you still there?" Victoria's voice sounded desperate. "I am. I'm not leaving." Jessica paused. "I'll try to open the door manually. My dad taught me, he was an elevator technician." Jessica rushed to the maintenance room. She knew every corner of that building. She grabbed the necessary tools and ran back. Her hands worked quickly, recalling her father's lessons. "Can you hear me, Mom?" "Yes, Jessica, I'm so sorry," Victoria's voice was choked, "for what I did yesterday. I shouldn't have—" "Not now," Jessica cut in, focused on the task. "I need you to stay calm." Victoria leaned against the elevator wall, trying to control her panic. She thought about her life. At 45, she had an important position, a luxurious apartment, but she was completely alone. No real friends, just professional contacts. No family nearby, only a sister she hadn't spoken to in years. "Jessica, you said your son was sick. How is he?" Jessica stopped for a second, surprised by the question. "Better. His fever broke," she replied, returning to work. "He's a strong kid, just like his father?" "His father? Are you separated?" "He passed away," Jessica answered simply. "Work accident, 3 years ago." Victoria felt a tightness in her chest. She'd never stopped to think about Jessica's life beyond the janitor's uniform. "I'm so sorry. It must be hard raising a child alone." "It is," Jessica forced another piece into place. "But you do what you have to do. Ethan is my life." At that moment, Victoria realized something terrible. She'd fired a widowed mother for caring for her sick son, the same woman now trying to save her. "Jessica, when you leave here, you're rehired," Victoria said. Jessica paused. "You don't have to do this out of pity, Ma'am." "It's not pity, it's the right thing." Victoria took a deep breath. "I was unfair yesterday, very unfair." Jessica returned to work in silence. After a few more minutes, she heard a click. The elevator door opened a few inches. "I did it. Now I need your help. Push the door on your side while I pull from here." The two women joined forces. Inch by inch, the door opened. When the gap was wide enough, Victoria practically threw herself out, collapsing into Jessica's arms. For a moment, they stood there, embraced. Victoria trembled like a frightened child. Jessica held her tight, just as she did with Ethan after his nightmares. "It's okay now," Jessica whispered. "It's over." Victoria pulled away, embarrassed by her show of weakness. She smoothed her hair and clothes, trying to regain composure. "Thank you," she said, unable to meet Jessica's eyes. "You're welcome, ma'am." They stood in silence for a few seconds. The empty hallway felt different now, charged with a tension unlike the day before. "Jessica, Victoria began, but was interrupted by her ringing phone. It was the company president, Richard Thompson. Victoria answered, still steadying her breath. "Victoria, I need you here now. We have a serious problem." His voice was tense. "I'm on my way, Mr. Thompson." She hung up and looked at Jessica. "I have to go, but come back tomorrow. Your job is waiting." Jessica nodded, still processing everything. She watched Victoria walk down the hall, her high heels echoing on the floor. When she got home that morning, Jessica found Ethan drawing at the kitchen table. The boy's cheeks were flushed, but he was already feeling much better. "Mom, look what I drew." He proudly showed her a colorful picture. Jessica took the paper. It was a drawing of the two of them holding hands, with a big smiling sun in the sky. "It's beautiful, sweetheart." She hugged her son. "How are you feeling?" "Much better. Mrs. Martha took care of me," Ethan said, referring to the elderly neighbor who always helped. Jessica prepared breakfast, lost in thought. She hadn't told Ethan about being fired or what had happened that morning. She was still trying to make sense of it all. The next day, Jessica returned to the office building. She wore her best uniform, the one she saved for special occasions. As she entered the lobby, the doorman, Frank, greeted her in surprise. "Jessica, I thought you'd been—" "It's a long story, Frank," Jessica smiled. On the 10th floor, she found Victoria in her office. The executive looked different, tired, worn down. "Come in, Jessica. Have a seat." She gestured to the chair in front of her desk. Jessica sat uncomfortably. She wasn't used to sitting in that room, only cleaning it. "First, I want to formally apologize for my behavior," Victoria said, folding her hands on the desk. "I was unfair and insensitive." "Ma'am, you already gave me my job back. You don't have to—" "Yes, I do," Victoria interrupted. "Jessica, yesterday you could have left me in that elevator. After how I treated you, no one would blame you." Jessica shook her head. My mother taught me differently, Ma'am. We don't repay wrong with wrong. Victoria fell silent for a moment, moved by the simplicity and kindness of this woman. I want to do more than just rehire you, Victoria continued. I'm increasing your salary and adding health insurance for you and your son. Jessica's eyes filled with tears. Health insurance had been a long-time dream. Ethan needed constant checkups because of his asthma. Ma'am, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, it's only fair, Victoria paused. And Jessica, thank you for yesterday, truly. Jessica left the office with a light heart. Finally, things seemed to be looking up. But she didn't know this was only the beginning of a much more complicated story. In the weeks that followed, Jessica noticed changes in Victoria. The executive who had barely acknowledged her before now always asked about Ethan. Sometimes, at the end of the workday, she'd find Victoria alone in her office, staring out the window with a melancholy expression. One afternoon, while cleaning the neighboring office, Jessica overheard a heated argument. She recognized the voice of Richard Thompson, the company's president. Victoria, the numbers don't lie. His tone was harsh. The branch has been in the red for 3 months. Mr. Thompson, we're in the middle of restructuring. I need more time, Victoria argued. Time is what we don't have. The board is putting pressure on me. If there's no improvement by the end of the month, I'll have to take drastic measures. Jessica stepped away, not wanting to hear more. But she was worried. Victoria seemed to be in trouble. That night, as she left work, Jessica found Victoria in the parking lot. The executive was leaning against her car, looking exhausted. Ma'am, are you okay? Victoria startled, quickly straightening her posture. Oh, Jessica, yes, I'm fine, just tired. Jessica noticed her red eyes, as if she'd been crying. Do you want to talk? Sometimes it helps to let it out. Victoria almost laughed. Here was the woman she'd humiliated offering a friendly shoulder. That's kind of you, but... She stopped, reconsidering. You know what? I'll take you up on that. Do you know a place around here to get coffee? The two went to a simple diner 2 blocks away. Victoria stood out completely in her expensive suit, but she didn't seem to mind. I never imagined I'd one day be having coffee with my boss, Jessica commented, trying to break the ice. Neither did I with my employee. Victoria stirred her coffee thoughtfully. Jessica, can I ask you a personal question? Of course. How do you do it? I mean, keep smiling even when everything is hard. Jessica thought for a moment. I guess it's because I have something to fight for. Ethan depends on me. And I've learned that being bitter doesn't change anything. It only makes it worse. Victoria nodded, absorbing her words. I used to have that. Something to fight for, I mean, but somewhere along the way I lost it. It's never too late to find it again, Jessica said kindly. Victoria looked at this simple woman before her and wondered how someone with so little could have so much wisdom. The company is in crisis, Victoria confessed. If we don't improve the numbers, a lot of people will lose their jobs, including me. Jessica felt a chill in her stomach. She had barely gotten her job back and was already at risk of losing it again. But you're capable, ma'am. You'll find a solution. Capability isn't always enough. Victoria took a sip of coffee. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. All this stress, this pressure. Do you have family? Jessica asked. Victoria shook her head. I have a sister, but we haven't spoken in years. My parents are gone, and I never had time to build my own family. Silence hung between them for a few seconds. You know, Mom, family isn't just blood. Sometimes we find family in the most unexpected places. Victoria smiled for the first time that night. A genuine smile, not the professional one she used at the office. You're a special person, Jessica. I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. The two kept talking late into the night. Jessica shared stories of her humble childhood in a small town, how she met her husband and the dreams she had for Ethan. Victoria spoke about the pressure of being a woman in the corporate world, the choices she'd made, and the ones she wished she'd made differently. When they finally said goodbye, something had shifted between them. They were no longer just boss and employee. The seed of an unlikely friendship had been planted. The next day, Jessica arrived early as usual. Passing by Victoria's office, she saw the light was already on. She knocked. "Come in." Victoria's voice sounded tired. Jessica found the executive surrounded by papers and spreadsheets, her hair disheveled, wearing the same clothes as the day before. "Ma'am, did you spend the night here?" Victoria rubbed her eyes. "I had to review all the reports. The deadline is tomorrow." Jessica looked around. Empty coffee cups, sandwich wrappers, papers scattered everywhere. "You need to rest. You won't think clearly like this." "I can't, Jessica. There's too much at stake." Victoria turned back to the papers. Jessica stepped closer and gently took the pen from Victoria's hand. "Half an hour. Rest for half an hour while I organize this. Then you can come back with a clear head." Victoria was about to protest, but exhaustion won out. She lay down on the small office couch and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Jessica worked quietly, sorting papers by category, tidying the room, brewing fresh coffee. As she organized, her eyes fell on some documents, expense reports, contracts, complex spreadsheets. Jessica had no formal education in business, but she had something many executives lacked: life experience. She managed a household on minimum wage, juggled bills, and saved every penny. Looking at those numbers, she began to see patterns: unnecessary expenses, overpriced contracts, unnoticed waste. She grabbed a notepad and started jotting down her observations. 2 hours later, Victoria woke with a start. "How long was I asleep?" she asked, sitting up quickly. "You needed this, Ma'am," said Jessica. "And Ma'am, can I show you something?" Jessica handed over her notes. Victoria read with growing attention. "Jessica, this is... How did you notice all this?" "When you have little, you learn to see where every penny goes," Jessica explained. "These cleaning contracts, for example, they're paying triple the market rate." Victoria analyzed the numbers. Jessica was right. How had this gone unnoticed for so long? "And here, office supplies. We could save 40% by buying from another supplier," Jessica pointed out another item. The two spent the next few hours reviewing all the contracts and expenses together. Jessica brought the practical perspective of someone who knew the real value of things. Victoria applied her technical knowledge to turn those observations into an action plan. "Jessica, you've just identified potential savings of nearly $200,000 a month," Victoria said, impressed. "Really?" Jessica couldn't even imagine that much money. "Very much so. This could be the lifeline we needed." Victoria took Jessica's hand. "Thank you." Again. But when Victoria presented the cost-cutting plan to Richard Thompson the next day, she faced unexpected resistance. "These are old contracts, Victoria. Some of these suppliers have been partners for decades," argued the chairman. "Partners who are overcharging us," Victoria countered. "It's not that simple. There are agreements, relationships that need to be preserved." Victoria read between the lines. Some of those contracts benefited important people. Touching them would mean picking a dangerous fight. "Mr. Thompson, with all due respect, either we cut these expenses or we shut down." "Find another solution," was the curt reply. "You have 2 weeks." Victoria left the meeting furious and frustrated. In the hallway, she ran into Jessica. "How did it go, ma'am?" "Bad." Victoria couldn't hide her discouragement. "Politics. Always the damn politics." Jessica saw the desperation in the executive's eyes. She thought of Ethan, the newly secured health insurance, all the colleagues who would lose their jobs if the company went under. "You can't give up, ma'am. There must be another way." "What way, Jessica? I've already cut everything possible. The only option would be to drastically increase revenue, and that's impossible in the time we have." Jessica grew thoughtful. Over her years cleaning that building, she had observed a lot. She talked to everyone, from the doorman to the CEO. She knew things no one else imagined. "Ma'am, what about that empty floor in the building? The third one?" "It's been vacant for months. No one wants to rent it. The price is too high for the current market." What if we turned it into something else?" Jessica had an idea forming. "What do you mean?" "You know how many small businesses are looking for meeting and event spaces. I always hear people talking about it in the elevator. What if we created a shared space, meeting rooms by the hour, an auditorium for events? Victoria stopped mid-hallway. The idea was simple, but brilliant. A co-working space. Jessica, that's genius. The two rushed back to Victoria's office. They spent the rest of the day developing the idea. Jessica contributed practical insights about what people really needed. Victoria turned everything into numbers and projections. If we achieve 60% occupancy, the revenue would cover the deficit in 3 months, Victoria calculated. And I know plenty of people who need it. I can help spread the word, Jessica offered. Victoria looked at Jessica with admiration. How had she been so blind? Here was a brilliant, creative woman, wasted in cleaning for lack of opportunity. Jessica, I want to make you an offer. How about being my assistant on this project? Jessica's eyes widened. But Mom, I don't have an education. I only finished high school. You have something far more valuable, practical intelligence and connections with everyone in this building. I need someone like you by my side. What about the cleaning? We'll hire someone else. You deserve more than that, Jessica. Jessica felt the tears coming. It was an opportunity she never imagined having. I accept, Ma'am. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Victoria smiled. And, Jessica? Call me Victoria. We're partners now. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. In the following weeks, the two worked tirelessly on the project. Jessica surprised everyone with her ability to learn and her network of contacts. She knew small business owners, freelancers, startups, all of them needing exactly what they were offering. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some executives in the company didn't like seeing a former janitor in a prominent position. This is outrageous, complained Michael, the finance manager, during a meeting. That woman has no qualifications. That woman has a name, Jessica. Victoria defended her. And she's brought more useful ideas in 2 weeks than you have in 2 years. Michael turned red with anger. We'll see what Mr. Thompson has to say about this. And indeed, Richard Thompson called Victoria into his office the next day. Victoria, I'm hearing you promoted the janitor. I promoted a competent employee who identified opportunities the rest of us overlooked. Victoria corrected him. You know this is causing talk, don't you? Richard drummed his fingers on the desk. Let them talk. The results will speak for themselves. I hope so. For both your sakes. There was a veiled threat in his tone. Victoria left the room worried. She knew she'd painted a target on her back, but she didn't regret it. Jessica deserved that chance. At home, Jessica faced her own challenges. Ethan was excited about his mother's promotion, but also scared. Mom, what if you turn into that mean lady? The boy asked one night. What mean lady, sweetheart? Mom, Victoria, the one who yelled at you. Jessica hugged her son. First, she's not mean anymore. She's our friend now. And second, I'll never change, Ethan. I'll always be your mom who loves you more than anything. Promise? I promise. But keeping that promise was harder than Jessica imagined. Her new responsibilities took up so much time. She came home late, exhausted, her mind full of numbers and problems. One night, she arrived home to find Ethan crying on the couch. What's wrong, my love? She rushed to hug him. You forgot, the boy sobbed. Jessica froze. The school presentation. She'd promised to be there. Ethan, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. You promised. The boy pulled away. You're becoming just like Dad. He always forgot too. The words cut Jessica like a knife. She held her son tightly. You're right, Ethan. Mommy messed up. Will you forgive me? The boy nodded, still sniffling. Jessica pulled him onto her lap, like when he was little. You know what we're going to do? Tomorrow I'll leave early and we'll get ice cream. Just the two of us. Promise? I promise. And this time, I'll keep it. The next day, Jessica talked to Victoria about what happened. I need to balance things better. Ethan is my priority. Of course, Victoria agreed. You know, Jessica, you teach me something new every day. Me? Jessica laughed. The successful executive is saying that. Success isn't just about money and titles. Victoria looked out the window. You have something I lost a long time ago. Purpose, family, balance. It's never too late to get it back, Jessica said gently. Victoria smiled sadly. Maybe you're right. The shared workspace project began to take shape. In record time, they transformed the third floor into a modern, welcoming environment. Jessica took care of the details that made a difference. Quality coffee, plants that made the space pleasant, a kids' area for parents who needed to bring their children. You think of everything, Victoria marveled. I think about what I'd want when I need to work, Jessica explained. The opening was approaching, but so were the problems. Michael, the financial manager, wouldn't stop sabotaging the project. I heard you're using unauthorized funds, Victoria confronted him right in the lobby. All expenses were approved by the board, Victoria replied calmly. We'll see about that. I've requested a full audit. Jessica, who was passing by, overheard the conversation. Her heart raced. What if they found something wrong? What if she lost everything again? That night, Jessica couldn't sleep. She got up in the early hours and went to the kitchen. To her surprise, her phone rang. It was Victoria. Sorry to call this late, it's just, I can't sleep. Her voice sounded strange. Me neither. Want to talk? Can we meet at the office? I need to review some things. Jessica looked at Ethan, asleep. She quietly called Martha, the neighbor who always helped her. Can you watch him for a little while? I'll be back soon. The elderly woman, always kind, agreed. Jessica stepped out into the cold dawn, worried about the tone in Victoria's voice. She found the executive in the office, but she wasn't working. She was sitting in the dark, staring at the city lights through the window. Victoria, what's wrong? I got a call. My sister's in the hospital. Her voice was hoarse. A heart attack. Jessica sat beside her. I'm so sorry. Are you going to see her? We haven't spoken in 7 years, Jessica. 7 years. Victoria let the tears fall. We fought over something stupid, our parents' inheritance money. Jessica took her hand. There's still time to fix it. What if she doesn't want to see me? What if it's too late? You won't know unless you try. Jessica squeezed her hand. Family's complicated, but it's worth trying. Victoria wiped her tears. You're right. I'll go tomorrow morning. Go now, Jessica urged. I'll handle everything here. But the opening is the day after tomorrow. The audit. Victoria, some things are more important, Jessica said firmly. Go see your sister. Victoria hugged Jessica tightly. I don't know what I'd do without you. That's what friends are for, Jessica smiled. Victoria left in a hurry. Jessica stayed alone in the office, the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She took a deep breath. She'd learned a lot these past few weeks. It was time to show what she was capable of. She spent the rest of the night reviewing documents, organizing pending tasks. When the first employees arrived, Jessica already had a list of assignments ready. Where's Ma'am Victoria? Asked Michael, clearly looking for trouble. Family emergency. I'm handling everything, Jessica replied confidently. You? He laughed dismissively. This should be interesting. Jessica didn't flinch. She'd faced worse in life. She coordinated the team, solved last-minute issues, negotiated with suppliers. When there was a crisis with the air conditioning system, she went up to check it herself. Jessica, you don't have to do that, said Frank, the doorman. You're not the janitor anymore. Frank, work is work. There's no shame in getting your hands dirty, she replied, already inspecting the problem. Within minutes, she identified a clogged filter. Problem solved. The team looked at her with newfound respect. At the hospital, 3 hours away, Victoria hesitantly entered the room where her sister Rebecca lay. The woman was pale, hooked to monitors, but conscious. Victoria. Her voice was weak, surprised. Hi, Becky. Victoria used her childhood nickname. For a moment, the two just looked at each other. Years of hurt and silence hung in the air. You came, Rebecca began to cry. Of course I came. You're my sister. Victoria stepped closer. After all I said, Rebecca held her hand. She also said horrible things. Victoria squeezed her sister's hand. I was too proud to apologize. The two cried together, time and the closeness of loss putting everything into perspective. I almost died, Vicky, and all I could think was that I'd never see you again. It's okay now. I'm here. Victoria stroked her sister's hair. And I'm not going anywhere. They spent hours talking, making up for lost time. Rebecca told her about her children. Victoria had 2 nephews she'd never even met. They talked about their parents, their childhood, laughing and crying together. You know what's ironic? Rebecca said. We fought over money, and in the end, I spent almost all of it on my husband's medical treatments before he passed. I'm so sorry, Becky. I didn't know you'd been widowed. How would you? I didn't let you, Rebecca sighed. Pride. Damn family pride. Victoria thought of Jessica, how she always put pride aside for what mattered. She still had so much to learn. I've changed a lot, Becky. I met someone who taught me to see life differently. A man. Her sister's eyes sparkled with curiosity. A friend, Jessica. You'll love her, Victoria smiled. She literally saved my life. She told the whole story, from the elevator to their unlikely partnership. Rebecca listened, fascinated. She sounds amazing. She is. And you know what's most impressive? She treats me as an equal, even though I was awful to her at first. That's rare, Rebecca agreed. People like that are treasures. The doctor came in to examine Rebecca. The situation was stable, but she'd need to stay under observation for a few days. I'll stay here with you, Victoria decided. But your job? Jessica is handling everything, and you're more important. Rebecca squeezed her sister's hand, moved. They'd lost so much time, but there was still a chance to make up for it. Back at the office, Jessica faced her biggest challenge. Michael had brought the auditors a day early, clearly trying to catch her off guard. We need all the documents. Now, the lead auditor demanded. Jessica stayed calm. She'd spent the night organizing everything. Of course, it's all here. She handed over the perfectly arranged folders. The auditors were surprised. They'd expected chaos, not flawless organization. As they worked, Jessica handled the final preparations for the opening. Vendors arrived, decorations were set up, invitations confirmed. She was everywhere at once. Jessica, the catering service has questions, someone called. Jessica, the sound company needs to speak with you. Another issue. Jessica, there's a client who wants to see the space. Yet another demand. She took a deep breath, remembering her mother's words. One problem at a time, dear. Slow and steady wins the race. She handled each issue with patience and efficiency. By the end of the day, everything was on track. The auditors found nothing irregular. Jessica had been meticulous. Michael left furious. Exhausted, Jessica sat in the room that would open the next day. She looked around, proud. She'd done it. Her phone rang. It was Victoria. How are things there? Everything's under control. How's your sister? Better. Jessica, I don't know how to thank you. No need. That's what friends are for. Jessica smiled. Focus on your sister. Everything here is fine. She hung up and checked the clock. Almost 8 p.m. Ethan. She rushed out. At home, she found her son having dinner with Mrs. Martha. Mom, he ran to hug her. Mrs. Martha made spaghetti. Sorry I'm late, Martha. I'll make it up tomorrow. Don't worry, dear. I know you're working hard, the elderly woman smiled. Ethan told me you're opening a business tomorrow. It's Mom and Aunt Victoria's, Ethan said proudly. Jessica smiled. She loved how her son already called Victoria Aunt. After dinner, she tucked Ethan into bed. Mom, are you happy? The boy asked. A lot, son. Why? It's just that you smile differently now, like when Dad was alive. Jessica felt her eyes well up. It's true. I really am happy. You know why? Because now I can give you a better future. I don't need a better future, I just need you, said Ethan with the wisdom only children possess. Jessica hugged him tightly. You will have both. I promise. On the opening day, Jessica arrived early. She checked every detail, every room, every piece of equipment. Everything had to be perfect. Around 10, Victoria arrived. She looked worn out, but determined. "How's your sister?" "Stable. I insisted she let me come. Told her I needed to meet my business partner." Victoria smiled. "Partner? That's what you are, Jessica. My partner in this venture. I couldn't have done it without you." The two hugged, overcome with emotion. Guests began arriving, business people, journalists, potential clients. Jessica was nervous, but Victoria calmed her. "You know this project better than anyone. Just be yourself." And Jessica did. She greeted everyone warmly, explained every detail with passion, and highlighted the practical advantages only she had thought of. "The kids area was my idea," she told one businesswoman. "I know how hard it is when you need to work, but have no one to leave your children with." The woman, a mother of 2, was delighted. "This is exactly what I needed. Where do I sign?" One by one, contracts were signed. The space was booked for the next 3 months before it even officially opened. Richard Thompson appeared midway through the event. He greeted Victoria coldly and ignored Jessica. "Seems your eccentric project is working out," he remarked. "Our project," Victoria corrected. "Mine and Jessica's." "Yes, of course," he said dismissively. "We'll see if it lasts." But when he saw the line of business people eager to sign deals, his expression changed. The numbers didn't lie. At the end of the day, when everyone had left, Jessica and Victoria sat exhausted in the middle of the main hall. "We did it," Victoria said, disbelieving. "You did it." "I just helped," Jessica replied, humbly as always. "We did it." Victoria took her hand. "Together." A noise at the door interrupted them. It was Ethan, brought by Martha. "Mom, I came to see your new office." The boy ran to them. "It's not really mine, son." "It's ours," Victoria interrupted. "Hi, Ethan. I'm Aunt Victoria." The boy studied her for a moment. "You used to be mean, but now you're nice, huh?" Jessica turned red, but Victoria laughed. "It's true, I was pretty mean. But your mom taught me to be better." Ethan seemed to approve of the answer. He ran around exploring the space, amazed by everything. "He's adorable," Victoria remarked. "He's my life," Jessica watched her son. "Everything I do is for him." "You're an amazing mother, Jessica." "I do what I can. It's not always easy," Jessica sighed. "I can imagine," Victoria grew thoughtful. "You know, seeing you two makes me think about the choices I've made." "There's still time to make different choices," Jessica said gently. "Maybe," Victoria smiled sadly, "but some things can't be undone." Ethan came running back. "Mom, can I bring my friends here?" "Of course not, honey. This is a workplace." "But there's a kids area," the boy argued. Victoria laughed. "He's right. And you know what? How about we have a special day for kids to see where their parents work?" Ethan's eyes lit up. "Really, Aunt Victoria? Really? Your mum and I will organize it." Victoria winked at Jessica. On the way home, Ethan wouldn't stop talking. "Aunt Victoria is nice. Can we invite her to my birthday?" "Of course, if she wants to come," Jessica smiled. "She will, I know it." Ethan was excited. "Mom, you're different." "Different how?" "More shiny." The boy searched for the right word. "Like when you tell stories about Dad." Jessica stopped on the sidewalk and hugged her son. He was right. She was shining again. In the following weeks, the shared space became a tremendous success. The waiting list grew daily. Revenue surpassed all projections. But success brought new challenges. Michael didn't give up trying to undermine the project. He spread rumors that Jessica was being favored because she was having an affair with Victoria. "That's ridiculous." Victoria was furious when she found out. "How can people be so mean?" "Let them talk." Jessica kept her calm. "Those who know us know the truth." But the rumors had an effect. Some clients questioned Jessica's competence. Others made nasty comments. One day, Jessica overheard a conversation in the bathroom. "It's absurd for a janitor to be in that position," said one voice. There must be something behind it. Absolutely. No one rises that fast without doing some favors, agreed another. Jessica stepped out of the stall where she'd been. The two women turned red. Good afternoon, ladies, she greeted politely. Just to clarify, I rose quickly because I work 16 hours a day. I have good ideas, and I don't waste time on gossip. Have a nice day. She walked out with her head held high, but inside she was shaken. Would she always be seen as the janitor who didn't deserve to be there? Victoria noticed her friend's distress. What happened? Nothing important. Jessica tried to brush it off. Jessica, tell me. We're friends, remember? Jessica shared the rumors, the comments, the looks. Victoria was silent for a moment. You know the difference between you and those people? She finally asked. What? You earned everything on merit. They only know how to criticize those who do. But it's exhausting, Victoria, having to prove my worth all the time. I know. Victoria took her hand. I've been through it too. Women in leadership are always questioned. Now imagine a woman who came from where you did. How did you handle it? By focusing on what matters, on the work, the results. And now, having you as a friend to remind me what truly has value. The two hugged. Their friendship was what kept them strong. That night, Jessica came home and found Ethan doing homework with Martha. Mom, I learned how to do division, he said proudly. That's amazing, sweetheart. Jessica kissed his head. Jessica, can I talk to you? Martha pulled her aside. Of course, what is it? Ethan's worried about you. He said people are saying bad things about you at work. Jessica sighed. How could she protect her son from this? It's just jealous people, Martha. I know, but maybe you should talk to him, the older woman advised. After Martha left, Jessica sat with Ethan. Sweetie, Martha said you're worried. Ethan lowered his head. The boys at school said you're not really important, that you're just a cleaning lady. Jessica felt anger rise but controlled herself. Ethan, look at me. She lifted his face. There's nothing wrong with being a cleaning lady. It's honest, important work. But you're not a cleaning lady anymore. No, now I have a different job. But if I were, I'd still have the same worth, Jessica said firmly. What matters isn't the title, sweetheart, it's character. What's character? It's being honest, hardworking, kind, doing the right thing even when no one's watching. Ethan thought for a moment. Then you have the best character in the world. Jessica laughed and hugged her son. And you will too, I promise. The next day, a new challenge arose. Richard Thompson called an emergency meeting. The board is impressed with the project's results, he began. So much so that they want to replicate it in other branches. Victoria and Jessica exchanged glances. It was great news. But, Richard continued, they want more. Traditional management. What does that mean? Victoria asked, already suspicious. It means we need someone with the proper qualifications to lead the expansion. An MBA, international experience. Are you saying Jessica can't be part of this? Victoria was direct. I'm saying we need to consider the company's image. Richard didn't hide his bias. The company's image has never been better. Victoria slammed the table. Thanks to Jessica's ideas. Victoria, be reasonable. Reasonable. You want me to be reasonable while you try to take credit from the person who saved this company? Jessica touched Victoria's arm, urging calm. Mr. Thompson, I understand your concern, she said diplomatically. How about a compromise? Richard looked surprised. He expected anger, not negotiation. Go on, he said. Victoria officially leads the expansion. I stay on as an operational consultant. That way, we keep the image you want and the efficiency we need. Victoria was about to protest, but Jessica silenced her with a look. That's an acceptable solution, Richard agreed, clearly relieved. After the meeting, Victoria was furious. Why did you do that? You deserve as much credit as I do. Victoria, I've learned something in life. Sometimes it's better to win the war than the battle. Jessica smiled. What matters is the project moving forward. But it's unfair. Life is unfair, Jessica shrugged. But we make the best of what we have. Victoria admired her friend even more. So much wisdom in someone who'd had so few opportunities. The weeks flew by. The expansion project took shape, with Jessica working behind the scenes and Victoria at the forefront. It was a perfect partnership. Rebecca, Victoria's sister, was discharged from the hospital and wanted to meet Jessica. "So, you're the famous Jessica," she said when they met. "Victoria never stops talking about you." Jessica blushed. "I hope it's good things." "The best," Rebecca smiled. "Thank you for looking after my sister and for making her reach out to me." "Family is important," Jessica said simply. "You sound like our mother," Rebecca noted. "She would have loved you." The three had lunch together, talking and laughing. Victoria seemed lighter, happier. Reconnecting with her sister had healed old wounds. "You know, Jessica," Rebecca said, "you should give talks." "Me?" Jessica laughed. "About what?" "About overcoming obstacles, about not giving up, about seeing opportunities where others see problems," Rebecca listed. "I'm not good at public speaking." "Then learn," Victoria encouraged. "You have so much to teach." Jessica grew thoughtful. Could she really do it? That night, Ethan was especially excited. "Mom, my teacher wants parents to talk about their jobs at school." Jessica froze. How could she explain her journey without seeming ashamed of her past? "When is it, sweetie?" "Next week. You'll come, right?" His eyes sparkled with hope. "Of course I'll come," she promised, already thinking of what to say. The next day at work, Jessica shared her worry with Victoria. "I don't know what to say. The other kids will have parents who are doctors, lawyers, and they'll have Ethan's mom, who's amazing," Victoria finished. "Jessica, your story is inspiring. Tell it with pride." "Easy for you to say." "Then I'll go with you," Victoria decided. "As your partner, I can talk about our work together." Jessica was moved. "You'd do that?" "Of course, Ethan already calls me aunt, doesn't he?" Victoria smiled. Presentation day arrived. Jessica was nervous, but Victoria reassured her. Ethan beamed, having both of them there. When their turn came, Jessica took a deep breath and began, "Hi kids, I'm Jessica, Ethan's mom, and this is my friend and partner, Victoria. Today, we'll tell you a story about how hard work and friendship can change lives." She told her journey simply and proudly, from janitor to businesswoman, hiding nothing. The children listened, fascinated. "You cleaned bathrooms?" a boy asked. "I did." "And it left everything shining," Jessica answered proudly. "Every honest job has value." "My mum says cleaning ladies aren't important," commented one girl. Victoria intervened. "Your mum is wrong. Jessica taught me more about business than any university. Intelligence and skill don't depend on a diploma." "Cool," several children exclaimed. Ethan's chest swelled with pride. His mum was the coolest of them all. After the presentation, several mothers approached Jessica. "What an inspiring story," said one. "You give us hope that we can start over." "We always can," Jessica smiled. One of the mothers, well-dressed and clearly wealthy, pulled Jessica aside. "Can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course." "How did you manage not to be intimidated? I mean, working with people like—" She glanced at Victoria. "People are people," Jessica said. "Some have more money, others less. But everyone has fears, dreams, and problems." The woman grew thoughtful. "It's just, I went through a tough divorce, lost almost everything. I need to start over, but I'm scared." Jessica took her hand. "Fear is normal, but you can't let it paralyze you. One step at a time." "Do you do consulting?" the woman asked hopefully. Jessica laughed. "I'm not a consultant yet," interrupted Victoria, who had walked over. "But it's a great idea." The following weeks were intense. The expansion project moved forward, but Michael kept creating obstacles. During an important meeting, he attacked directly. "This project is pure amateurism," he declared in front of everyone. "A janitor playing businesswoman." Jessica felt her face burn, But before she could respond, something unexpected happened. Several colleagues defended her. "Jessica has more business sense than most executives out there," said one manager. "Her ideas saved the company," added another. Michael turned red, realizing he had lost support. After the meeting, Jessica thanked her colleagues. "You've earned our respect, Jessica," one said. "At first I admit I was prejudiced, but you proved your worth." It was a small but meaningful victory. At home, Ethan waited for her with news. "Mom, I got picked for the school play. I'm the lead." "That's wonderful, son." Jessica hugged him. "And guess what? The teacher said it's because I speak well in public, just like you." Jessica smiled. She was raising a confident, secure son. "When's the play?" "In a month. You and Aunt Victoria are coming, right?" "We wouldn't miss it for anything." But fate had other plans. The next week, Richard Thompson called another meeting. The board decided to speed up the expansion. "We need both of you in Chicago next week." Jessica froze. Ethan's play was on that exact date. "For how long?" Victoria asked, noticing her friend's worry. "At least a week. It's crucial for closing the contracts." Jessica stayed silent. Victoria tried to negotiate. "Can't we do it by video call?" "No. The investors want to meet the team in person." Richard was firm. After the meeting, Jessica was devastated. "I can't miss his play, Victoria, I promised." "We'll find a solution," Victoria tried to reassure her. "What solution? It's my job or my son, again." Tears welled in Jessica's eyes. Victoria thought for a moment. "What if I go alone? I'll say you had an emergency." "No, that would be a lie, and it could hurt the project." Jessica wiped her tears. "I'll have to tell Ethan." The conversation with her son was one of the hardest in Jessica's life. "But Mom, you promised." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "I know, sweetheart, and I'm so sorry, but is work more important than me?" The question cut Jessica deep. "Never, Ethan. You're the most important thing in my life." "Then why can't you stay?" Jessica tried to explain about responsibilities and commitments, but how could a child understand? "What if Aunt Victoria goes on the trip and you stay?" Ethan suggested. "It doesn't work like that, sweetheart." Ethan ran to his room and slammed the door. Jessica stood in the living room, heartbroken. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. That night, Jessica couldn't sleep. She paced around the house, the weight of her decision crushing her. Around 3 in the morning, her phone rang. It was Victoria. "Can't sleep either?" her friend asked. "How could I? Ethan barely speaks to me." "Jessica, I had an idea. It's risky, but it might work." "What?" "What if we take Ethan with us? We'll do the meeting in 1 day, come back for the play, then return to wrap things up." Jessica thought about it. It would be expensive, complicated, but he'd miss school. Just for a week, and it would be an educational experience, Victoria argued. "I don't know if the company would pay." "I'll cover it," Victoria said firmly. "It's important to you, so it's important to me." Jessica began to cry. "Victoria, I can't accept." "Yes, you can, and you will. We're partners, remember? And friends. That's what this is for." The next morning, Jessica shared the news with Ethan. "We're going on a trip? Really?" His eyes lit up. "But there are conditions. You'll have to study at the hotel. Behave during the meetings." "I promise. I'll be the best behaved boy in the world." Ethan hugged her tightly. The trip was an adventure. Ethan was fascinated by the airplane, the big city, the hotel. During the meetings, he sat quietly, drawing in a corner. "Your son is a sweetheart," an investor remarked. "So well-mannered." "Thank you." Jessica smiled proudly. The negotiations were intense but successful, and as promised, they returned in time for the play. Ethan shone on stage. Jessica and Victoria stood and applauded, moved to tears. "Thank you," Jessica whispered to her friend, "for everything." "That's what family does," Victoria replied, winking. After the play, the three went out to celebrate. Ethan couldn't stop talking. Did you see when I delivered the main line? I didn't mess up at all. You were perfect, Victoria praised. You know, Auntie, when I grow up, I want to be like you and Mom. How so? Victoria asked curiously. Strong, smart, and true friends, the boy explained simply. The two women exchanged emotional glances. From the mouth of a child, the greatest truth. The expansion's success was overwhelming. In 6 months, the company's revenue tripled. Jessica and Victoria were constantly sought after for talks and consulting. But then the blow came. Michael, in a final attempt to harm them, leaked Jessica's story to the press, but twisted. The headlines were cruel. From cleaning lady to executive, a tale of favoritism in the corporate world. Executive promotes janitor out of friendship, not merit. Jessica was devastated. All her work, all her effort, reduced to malicious gossip. I can't take it anymore, Victoria, she vented. No matter how hard I work, they'll always see me as the janitor who doesn't deserve to be here. Jessica, you can't give up now, Victoria tried to encourage her. Why not? I'm tired of fighting all the time. It was Ethan who offered the solution. Seeing his mother crying with the newspaper in her hand, the boy had an idea. Mum, why don't you tell the real story? The right way? What do you mean, sweetheart? Make a video. Tell everything from the beginning. I bet people will understand. Jessica looked at her son, surprised by his wisdom. Where did you get that idea? From history class. The teacher said if you don't tell your own story, others will tell it their way. Victoria, who was listening, perked up. Ethan's right. Let's record a testimony. Tell the whole story. I don't know if I have the courage. Mom, Ethan took her hand. You taught me to never be ashamed of who we are. Remember? Jessica hugged her son. He was right. They recorded the video the next day. Jessica told her story with honesty. The struggles of being a single mother, the day she was fired, the elevator, her friendship with Victoria, the ideas that saved the company. Victoria also spoke, confirming every detail, showing numbers and concrete results. The video went viral. In 2 days, it had millions of views. The comments were overwhelmingly positive. What an inspiring story. Jessica proves that talent doesn't have a zip code. We need more Jessicas and Victorias in the corporate world. But the most important moment came a week later. Richard Thompson called a meeting with the full board. Gentlemen, after everything that's happened, we've reached a conclusion, he began. Jessica Wilson has proven her worth beyond doubt. Therefore, the board has decided to officially appoint her as Director of Innovation and Operations. Jessica couldn't believe what she was hearing. With all the benefits and responsibilities of the position, Richard continued, it's well-deserved and long overdue. Michael, present at the meeting, was pale but silent. He had lost completely. I don't know what to say, Jessica said, emotional. Say you accept, Richard smiled. The company needs you, officially this time. Jessica looked at Victoria, who smiled proudly. She thought of Ethan, her mother, and everyone who had believed in her. I accept, with great pride. The room erupted in applause. Jessica Wilson, former janitor, was now a director at one of the city's largest companies. That night, the celebration was with family. Ethan, Victoria, Rebecca, Martha, all gathered in Jessica's small home. A toast, Victoria proposed, to Jessica, who taught me that true success means having someone to fight for. And to Victoria, Jessica added, who taught me we can be more than we ever imagined. And to me, Ethan chimed in. I came up with the video idea. Everyone laughed and raised their glasses. Later, Rebecca pulled Jessica aside. Thank you, she said simply. For what? For bringing my sister back to me. The Victoria I knew in the hospital isn't the same one I remembered. More human, happier. She was always like this, just hidden, Jessica smiled. No, Jessica, you changed her, just like she changed you. Rebecca hugged her. You two are proof that true friendship can change lives. The party went on late into the night. Laughter, stories, plans for the future. Ethan fell asleep on the couch, a smile on his face. He's so happy, Victoria observed. It's all I ever wanted, to give him a better life, Jessica said, stroking her son's hair. You've done so much more than that, Victoria replied. You've given him the example of a fighter who never gives up. Jessica was about to respond when her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Jessica Wilson? A woman's voice. Yes, who is this? My name is Samantha Parker. I'm a TV producer. I saw your video and would love to talk about turning it into a documentary. Jessica's eyes widened. A documentary? Yes. Your story needs to be shared with more people. It could inspire thousands of women. Jessica looked at Victoria, who gestured for her to accept. Can I think about it and get back to you? Of course. But I hope you'll say yes. America needs to hear stories like yours. She hung up, still in shock. What happened? Everyone asked at once. They want to make a documentary about my life, Jessica said, still disbelieving. Our life, Victoria corrected. This story is ours. Ethan woke up to the commotion. What's going on? Your mom's going to be famous, Rebecca said. Even more? The boy rubbed his eyes. Cool, everyone laughed. To Ethan, his mom was already the most famous person in the world. A week later, Jessica was in her new office. The sign on the door read, Jessica Wilson, Director of Innovation and Operations. It still felt like a dream. Victoria walked in without knocking, as she always did. Daydreaming? Thinking about how much has changed. A year ago, I was cleaning this very room. And rescuing executives stuck in elevators, Victoria teased. They both laughed. You know what's most amazing, Victoria continued. You're still the same person. Success hasn't changed who you are. I hope it stays that way, Jessica said. Ethan keeps me grounded. Speaking of him, ready for the parent-teacher meeting? Jessica made a face. Now that I'm a director, will they treat me differently? You'll always be Jessica. A title doesn't change that, Victoria said, squeezing her friend's shoulder. The parent-teacher meeting was interesting. Some who had ignored her before now wanted to chat. Jessica was polite but distant. Funny how people change when you have a title, she remarked to Victoria afterward. It's not them who change, it's how they see you, Victoria mused. I prefer those who saw me as a janitor and still respected me. Like me? Victoria asked playfully. You don't count. You fired me first. Jessica gave her a light, joking tap. Best mistake of my life. If I hadn't fired you, we wouldn't have become friends. Destiny works in strange ways, Jessica agreed. The documentary began filming. It was odd having cameras follow her daily life, but Jessica got used to it. Ethan, of course, loved it. Mom, can I talk in the documentary? We'll see what the director decides. Samantha, the producer, was charmed by Ethan. He's essential to the story. A mother's love is what drives everything. During filming, Jessica had to revisit difficult moments. The day she lost her husband, the nights she didn't know how to pay the bills, the humiliation of being fired. How did you not grow bitter? Samantha asked in an interview. Bitterness doesn't feed a child, Jessica replied simply. I had to keep moving forward. Victoria also gave emotional testimony. Jessica taught me about humanity. I had everything materially, but was poor in spirit. She enriched me. The most touching moment was when Martha was interviewed. Jessica is like a daughter to me. I watched her fight every day, always with a smile. She deserves all the good happening now. Even Richard Thompson participated, admitting his initial prejudices. I was wrong to judge Jessica by her job. She proved talent has no address or diploma. Michael was approached but refused to take part. He had requested a transfer to another branch, far away. A month before the documentary's release, Jessica got an unexpected call. Jessica? This is Jennifer, Ethan's teacher. Jessica's heart raced. A call from school was never good news. Did something happen? Nothing serious, but we need to talk about Ethan. Can you come today? Jessica canceled her appointments and rushed over. She found Ethan in the principal's office, head down. What happened, sweetheart? I got in a fight, the boy admitted. The teacher explained. Ethan stood up for a classmate who was being teased. The girl is on scholarship and other kids were mocking her for being poor. Jessica looked at her son with newfound respect. What did you say to them, Ethan? That my mum used to be poor and is the smartest person I know. That money doesn't make anyone better. And then, Jessica prompted, Tyler said it was a lie, that you only got where you are because... Ethan trailed off. Because what? He used ugly words, Mom, so I pushed him. Jessica took a deep breath. Violence was never the answer, but she understood her son's anger. Ethan, you know hitting doesn't solve anything, right? I know, but he said bad things about you. The boy's eyes filled with tears. Jessica hugged him. Sweetheart, there will always be people who say mean things. What matters is knowing who we are. But it's not fair. Life isn't always fair. But we respond with work and dignity, not with violence. Ethan nodded, sniffling. The teacher intervened. Jessica, Ethan is a special boy. The way he stood up for his classmate was noble. We just need to work on emotional control. We'll work on it, Jessica assured her. Thank you for calling me. On the way home, Jessica talked more with her son. I'm proud of you for standing up for your friend. It's Lily, Mom. She's really smart, but the others pick on her because her uniform is hand-me-downs. Would you like to invite Lily over for a snack one day? Ethan's eyes lit up. Really? She'd love that. Then arrange it. Friends support each other, and it seems Lily could use some friends. Ethan hugged his mother. You're the best mom in the world, and you're the best son. But no more fighting, deal? Deal. That night, Jessica told the story to Victoria. He takes after his mum, defender of the underdogs, her friend joked. I worry. I don't want him to suffer because of me. Jessica, you're raising a boy with character. He'll get hurt sometimes, but he'll make a difference in the world. I hope you're right. I always am, Victoria winked, except when I fired you. That time I was completely wrong. They both laughed. The firing that had seemed like the end of the world had been the start of everything. 2 weeks later, Lily came over for a snack. She was a shy but very sweet girl. Jessica saw a lot of herself in her. Thank you for having me, ma'am, the girl said politely. You can call me Aunt Jessica. Ethan's friends are always welcome here. The kids played all afternoon. Jessica noticed how Lily devoured Ethan's books. Do you like reading? I love it, but we don't have many books at home, the girl replied. Jessica had an idea. Ethan, how about you and Lily pick out some books you've already read for her to take home? Great idea. Ethan ran to his room. When Lily's mother came to pick her up, Jessica invited her inside. She was a young, tired woman with the same look Jessica had once had. Thank you for having my daughter. She hasn't stopped talking about Ethan. They're good friends. Lily is a special girl, Jessica praised. The woman, whose name was Nicole, lowered her voice. I know who you are. I saw your story in the paper. It's inspiring. Thank you, Jessica said, touched. I work as a housekeeper. I dream of giving Lily a better life, but it's hard. Jessica saw herself in that woman. She took out a card. Call this number. It's our company's HR. We're hiring. Tell them I referred you. Nicole's eyes filled with tears. I don't know how to thank you. Just promise me you won't give up. For Lily. I promise. Nicole squeezed Jessica's hand tightly. When mother and daughter left, Ethan hugged Jessica. You helped them, didn't you? I tried. Sometimes all people need is a chance. Like Aunt Victoria gave you? Exactly. Jessica kissed her son's head. And now it's our turn to give back. The documentary premiere was approaching. Jessica was nervous. Exposing her life like this was terrifying. What if people don't like it? She fretted to Victoria. Impossible. Your story is too powerful. But it's so much exposure. Jessica, remember when you said sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zone? I do. Well, your story could change lives. The discomfort is worth it. Jessica knew her friend was right, but it was still hard. The premiere event was held at the mall's cinema. Jessica hadn't expected such a crowd. The room was packed. Mum, look how many people. Ethan was amazed. Jessica saw familiar and unfamiliar faces, colleagues, neighbors, but also strangers who had connected with her story. The documentary began. For an hour and a half, the audience followed Jessica's journey. There were laughs, tears, spontaneous applause. When the lights came on, Jessica was called to the stage. The standing ovation moved her deeply. "Thank you," she began, her voice trembling. "When I agreed to make this documentary, I thought I was telling my story. But I realized it's our story. Every woman who fights, every mother who never gives up, every person who dreams of something better." More applause. "I want to especially thank 3 people. Ethan, my son, my reason to live and fight. Victoria, who went from being my boss to my sister. And my mother, who is no longer here but taught me that dignity is priceless." Ethan stepped onto the stage and hugged his mother. Victoria joined them. The image of the 3 embracing became iconic. The Q&A session was emotional. Women shared their own stories of struggle. Men spoke about their warrior mothers. Young people said they felt inspired. "Jessica, what advice would you give to someone in your past situation?" asked an older woman. Jessica paused. "Don't be ashamed of where you are. Be proud of where you're going and accept help. Alone, we get nowhere." Nicole was in the audience. She had gotten the job and stood up to speak. "Jessica gave me a chance 2 months ago. Today, I'm an administrative assistant. My daughter is proud of me. Thank you for believing in me." Jessica was moved. The circle was complete. The documentary's impact exceeded expectations. Invitations for speeches, interviews, even a book deal. "I don't know if I can handle all this," Jessica confessed to Victoria. "You don't have to accept everything. Choose what matters," her friend advised. Jessica decided to focus on talks for women in vulnerable situations. Together with Victoria, she created a mentorship program at the company. "Every woman hired will have guidance and growth opportunities," Jessica explained at the launch meeting. "This will cost a lot," Richard Thompson remarked. "It's investing in the future," Victoria corrected. "How many Jessicas are we losing for lack of opportunity?" The program was a success. In 6 months, dozens of women were promoted, many moving from operational to administrative roles. Ethan watched with pride. "Mom, you've become a hero." "I'm no hero, son. Just doing what's right." "To me, you always were," the boy said simply. A year after the documentary's premiere, Jessica received an unexpected invitation. A university wanted to award her an honorary doctorate. "Me? I never even went to college," she protested. "Exactly," the dean explained. "You represent all who lacked formal education but contribute extraordinarily to society." The ceremony was moving. Jessica walked onto the stage with the same pride she had cleaning bathrooms. Work is work. Dignity is dignity. In her speech, she moved everyone. "I accept this honor not for myself, but for all the Marys, Jones, and Franceses who wake at dawn, ride crowded buses, work hard, and dream of something better for their children. This honor is ours." Ethan sat in the front row, tears streaming. His mother, the janitor, was now a doctor. Victoria cried too, proud of the friend who had transformed her life as much as she had transformed hers. Afterward, the 3 celebrated at a simple diner Jessica chose. "To Dr. Jessica," Victoria teased. "Oh, stop. I'm still the same Jessica." "No," Ethan said seriously. "You're better. Better every day." "Know the best part?" Victoria asked. "What?" Jessica and Ethan replied together. "This is just the beginning. Imagine what's ahead." Jessica looked at her chosen family and smiled. From cleaning lady to doctor, from fired to director, from alone to loved. Life had surprising turns. "Whatever comes, we face it together," Jessica said. "Together," Ethan and Victoria agreed. At that moment, Jessica fully understood what her mother had said about true wealth. It wasn't in the bank. It was right there at that simple table with the people she loved. Jessica's phone rang. It was Richard Thompson. "Jessica, I need both of you here right away. We have a proposal you need to hear." "Can it wait until tomorrow morning? We're celebrating with family." "Family?" Richard sounded surprised. Yes, family. Jessica looked at Ethan and Victoria. The best anyone could ask for. She hung up. Whatever it was could wait. That moment belonged to them. Another adventure? Victoria asked. Seems like it, Jessica smiled. Yay, Ethan cheered. I love our adventures. And so, between laughter and plans, the night continued. 3 lives intertwined by fate, proving that sometimes the best families are the ones we choose. Jessica thought back to the day she was fired, when she thought it was the end of the world. If someone had told her that one day she'd be there, a director with an honorary doctorate, a best friend like a sister and a proud son, she wouldn't have believed it. But life had its surprises. Sometimes what seems like the end is just a beginning in disguise. And Jessica was ready for whatever came next, because she had learned the most important lesson. With faith, hard work, and the right people by your side, there's no limit to how far you can go. The story of the janitor who was fired for caring for her sick son had become the story of a woman who turned a moment of injustice into an opportunity to change lives. And it all started with an act of kindness on a broken elevator, proving that small gestures can have extraordinary consequences. You know, Jessica said, raising her glass once more, my mother used to say that God works in mysterious ways. Your mother was wise, Victoria agreed. She really was, Jessica smiled. And wherever she is, I know she's proud. She definitely is. Ethan held his mother's hand, just like I am. And in that moment, Jessica was certain. No matter what the future held, she was ready. Because when you have love, true friendship, and the courage to fight, any dream is possible. The waiter approached with the bill. Jessica reached for it, but he stopped her. It's on the house. It's an honor to have you here, Mom Jessica. You don't have to. My daughter watched your documentary. She decided to go back to school because of you. Please, accept this as thanks. Jessica accepted, moved. Her actions were creating ripples she hadn't even imagined. As they left the restaurant, Ethan held his mother's hand on one side and Victoria's on the other. Home? Jessica asked. Home, the 3 agreed. And they walked together into the night, 3 hearts united by an unlikely story of resilience, friendship, and love. The future was uncertain, but one thing was guaranteed. They would face it all together, as the true family they had become. End of story. Now tell us, do you believe small gestures can change lives? Leave your like and subscribe for more inspiring stories like Jessica's.